For advanced knife defense, we're going to take the 5 attacks, angles 1 through 5, and I'm going to demonstrate different techniques that I like to do from those attacks. These are my techniques. I suggest that you try them, work them out, see what works for you. Maybe you'll learn a few techniques and ideas that you may not have come up with on your own, and then see what works for you and start adapting for your own. Now, from an angle 1, the knife is here and I'm on the inside. So I'm going to start by peeling. This is all going to be based off of a kotegaeshi. So as I pull down on the thumb, I am trying to put my body behind this. I'm also pushing my chest out. By doing that, I'm pinning this to my body so the knife is not able to move very much. At the same time, I'm going to take my other hand and come up to get control from here. And again, everything's based off of that kotegaeshi wrist lock technique. But with a knife to my neck, I'm not thinking about locking anyone's wrist. I'm going to break the wrist. So as I pin this down and I come across, I'm going to grab with both hands now from here. I'm going to drive straight down. I don't want to stand here and try to muscle with this. I'm going to drive that down into the floor. The person's going to fall very quickly, and if they don't, the wrist will break. So first technique, pin. You may want to add the strike to the head for distraction. Go right to this. Get the elbow up in the air and drop. The other reason I'm going to lift my elbow is there's a chance she's going to try to grab her own knife from here or grab her wrist. I'm going to drive that down and get rid of that hand. It's not going to be a problem at all. If you are closer, you also have that elbow to strike with. Second variation from here, I'm going to go from this grab. Now let's say I'm a little slow to it or she's a little fast, she starts to pull back. As the knife pulls back, I'm going to grab and just drive that down, breaking the wrist on the way down. Third variation, I get to here, again the knife pulls back, but it's a little too far away. Rather than coming in and grabbing it, I'm going to strike down into the hand. What that's going to do is as I hit the hand, it's going to twist the wrist and disarm and make the knife fall out. For the next one, still working with that same principle, I move off to the side as it comes back. I've got the hand, but she's pulling, pulling, pulling. I'm going to try to disarm. This time I'm going to shake the wrist. Nerves respond when they're vibrated. If I put constant pressure, I have to be stronger than the person with the knife. And it might be the case that I could do that. If not, I'm going to shake, and what I'll do is a quick series of shakes to make that knife fall out of the hand, each time putting a little bit more pressure in. Next technique, pin and go away from here with that strike. As I come back, maybe I have control, maybe I've worked the kotegaeshi first, or maybe not. I'm going to look from here to go underneath the arm, snaking through and getting the Shihan over the top. This technique, as long as my wrist is over the top, can be pretty strong. And now I'm not going to think about the wrist at this point. I'm going to try to tear the shoulder. As I step back and pull, shoulder's going to go back and tear. Alternative to the Shihan, as I make my strike from here, I'm going to let my hand come over the top. Now my thumb's on top. I'm going to let this come back. My other hand snakes under. And here's the Americana version for control. Now the reason I like this one a little more than the Shihan is I don't have to be stronger. The natural way that the figure 4 works over this means that when she goes to pull back, it's all going to just transfer back into her body. I don't have to work very hard to make that hurt. So those are the 3 from just dealing with the kotegaeshi initially. Now for more destructive techniques, I'm going to go in for a cut or for a disarm. So the first one, as I make my strike, I come back, I'm going to go forward and scoop with this hand to slice across. I'm not trying to push it straight at the person, because if you go in a straight line, she's going to resist that. So I make a loop across to cut. So that's the first one. Now once I make that first cut, I'm on the outside. I can disarm that by going up against the underside of the knife, assuming it's a big enough hand to do that. If it's a shorter knife, it's just not going to work. Same attack. I've pinned, I've gone for that strike. Now just like before, when I go for that, the person's not going to stand there. So let's say she moves out of the way. Now I'm going to follow up to the body. So you just cut right across the body, and then there's my disarm on the outside. One more time. I've pulled this down, I've gone for the cut. Maybe I made the cut, maybe I didn't. I go for the high, I tuck for the low, there's the cut, my hand comes out to the outside. Okay. Third version with the cuts, make my strike, go for the cut, go for the second cut. Now she moves her body out of the way from there. Doesn't matter, I'm on the outside, I'm going to use the tip of the blade and come back and to stab into the back. And then if possible, I'm going to take the knife behind, holding the wrist, pulling away, disarm the knife entirely out of the wrist. Okay? And that is number 1.